Welcome to this week's edition of Geeksphere. I'm Skip Parker and I'm joined by international man of mystery himself, Bradley Burrows.
Evening, buddy. How are you?
Not bad. Now, we are a little bit more alert than we were last week.
Yeah, a little bit more. I'm still a little bit jaded from a bit of travelling I've had to do recently.
Right,
so.
yes. You had to get up really early to fly somewhere. And for me, I just can't remember what we did last week because I was just so darn tired. It was a long day. But it was a good day.
Yes.
Good launches.
Very, very good day.
Very cool. Okay, so we've got a great show this week for you with a couple of new smartphones arriving, and we've got a giveaway.
Yes, we do. Something for the listeners and the Facebook people to get a hold of.
Absolutely. So it's a bit of a social media one. But first, let's tackle some of the tech news filtering around the web. Microsoft have officially launched their Surface Pro device in New Zealand and, well, Australia and a few other places as well.
Yeah, all the same time.
No doubt this will mean we get to see such interesting adverts such as this one right here. Yeah, I'm not sure about you on this one, but I don't think I've been in a meeting quite like that.
Yeah, I've been in a couple inside of Microsoft that were pretty close, so...
Right, that's in another episode, I guess. You know, it's an interesting creative way of showing off a technology device. But anyway, back to New Zealand. This is going to be available in a number of retail stores, right?
Yeah, so we've got JB Hi-Fi, we've got Harvey Norman's, and we've got Noel Leeming's now as well. So you've got 3 retail outlets across New Zealand where you can actually go out and get the new Surface Pro along with the Surface RT device.
Fantastic. Now, what we actually saw that Noel Leeming's had a pre-purchase order on deal on their site,
yep,
which appears to be basically bang on for the retail launch price.
Yep.
So that was for the 128 gig model, it was $1,499.
Yep.
And for the 64 gig model, it was $1,349.
Yep, that's correct. $1,349 for the 64 gig.
Brilliant. Now, you actually got to go along to the press release that was out tonight,
yes,
with all the journalists. So we're recording this on the night before the launch. Tell us what was the feel, what was some of the feedback coming back from journalists about this?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting evening. I mean, Microsoft guys stood up. Fraser Scott from Microsoft, the marketing director, stood up there and went through sort of some of the key benefits of what's really happened with the Surface Pro. He talked about Windows 8.1 a little bit, which is really good there.
So that's the codename Blue project?
Yep.
Right.
He talked about that for a bit. Then Nigel Parker, the developer, partner, evangelist, director, stood up and showed, I know, it's a real mouthful, that one. But he stood up and showed a lot of the new apps, and he actually showed an experience of how his family are actually using the Surface Pro in the I suppose, the Windows 8 environment at home. And he showed off some really good local apps that are coming through. There's Quick Flicks, which is a streaming application that's out at the moment. He showed off the New Zealand Herald, but he also showed off a couple of the new art apps that are available there, because obviously with the Surface Pro, you've actually got a pen. Right. And you can actually draw and do everything else. And that for me was one of the key ones. For me, I'm actually going to go out and purchase that one for my son. I didn't know about that one, it was really good. So I actually happen to have a Surface RT device right here and right now.
Right.
So we're going to flick across to the camera and actually have a bit of a look at this. So obviously the colours here with the green screen set, they get a little bit messed up. But as you can see, this is a full-blown Windows 8 Pro device. I've got the touchpad here, which is a slightly raised keyboard that I use. For me here, I've still got my full desktop environment. So I actually go out and I've got all my apps installed, all my Windows-based applications, and I can go out and install things from the Windows Store. I can install it from obviously things like, say, any of the game stores out there and down it from there.
So Steam and that sort of thing?
Totally, yeah.
Right.
I play a lot of those sort of testing those games out.
Nice.
A lot of the Flash-based games, but then obviously all my apps as well, I can download those. And I use a USB key from that side of things. Now, some of the specs that we've got here on this device, it's a 10.6-inch screen. We've got a i5 Intel CPU, 8 gig of RAM. This is the 128 gig model. So, and I've actually on the side here, I've actually managed to use a little SD card and I've bumped it up by another 64 gigs, so that's really, really good. So 192 gig for me to play with. Battery life, they're saying about half of the Windows RT. Now I get about 10 to 11 hours out of my RT device. So they're saying about half. They're not giving exact times, but if you work the math out, they're 5.5, 6 hours. I'm guessing from that side, which is not bad.
It's not too bad.
So actually, that's up there with the Ultrabook side of things. Right. You'll see here on the side, one of the cool things that they talked about was this whole case is actually magnesium. And when they do the die, it's actually stronger than titanium. It's credit card thin, and there's this vent that goes around the edge here, and this is actually the cooling system, because obviously this is still an Intel-based CPU inside of it.
Right, yeah.
So they use it for, and it's super quiet. There is absolutely no noise out of this. There's a USB 3 port on this device, and of course a mini HDMI that you use for output on that side. So look, it's a really good device for if you want replacement. I've taken, just going to put this in front of the camera here, I've actually taken this away as my main device now. I use it for touchscreens, I use it for everything I output onto TV, and then you can change these interchangeable covers and actually use them and buy them and have fancy colours and bits and pieces from there.
Nice.
So it's just a nice click action and away you go.
Now, I'm going to stop you there for a minute because, let's be honest, you are Mr. Microsoft, right?
Totally.
You work for Microsoft, you're a product manager within the Microsoft...
Business group lead for Microsoft, yep.
Right, there you go. So there is a little bit of perhaps you've been drinking from the Kool-Aid at Microsoft, okay?
I have.
Let's be a bit of that. How does this fare, in all honesty, against some of the other devices? And we've had to play with a lot of devices, especially in the Windows 8 space, with other Windows 8 devices.
Well, I'll actually take you one step further. My household is not, I love technology.
Yes.
And I have a lot of everything. So when I'm actually going home, I test lots of different devices. I've got an iPad, I've got Apple devices, I've got loads of Android, I've got other Windows 8 devices. You've currently got my Samsung Galaxy Note, Tab 2 or something at the moment.
I have no idea what you're talking
borrowing.
about.
So when I'm actually testing, when I'm actually looking at a device and I'm actually working out what I like about the technology, I actually look at how easy is it for me to use.
Right.
Do I need to get multiple devices up? So when I had my iPad and I was using that for reading books and watching movies and everything, but then I wanted to actually go and type something when we were writing articles for Geeksphere, I'd have to bring up my Ultrabook.
Right, yep.
And I look at how I change my behaviours when I'm actually using the devices. So for instance, if I, with the Ultrabook that I use for a lot, which actually I've got one similar to what you've got here,
yep.
I really noticed that because that's got 9 hours battery life, I lived on that at home and I would take that around the house and that became almost my primary device, and my iPad went to the kids to play games on.
Right.
This has actually taken over both purposes at this point in time. So for me, that's how I've looked, and I was actually trying to think about where I've changed, and I write all my articles on this here. I do all the Geeksphere work on this. I do all my work on this. But when I go home, I actually do all my reading on my books, my games. Because it's so powerful, I can play computer games. Diablo 3, for instance, runs on this, not a problem.
Okay.
So if I stand back and look at how the other technology platforms play, this has become that one device. When I go and travel, all I do, close, I walk out the door with this little device, and that's it packed down there, and that's everything I need at the moment.
Right, yep.
So I think that's one of the behaviours I've noticed for me that's changed, where I've actually been able to, now when I'm leaving the house and when we're recording this TV show or anything else, I would used to pack an Ultrabook,
yep.
my work device, my iPad, or any other devices we're reviewing, but now this has become that one device that I use. Not to say that I don't sit there and if someone gives me another device, do I not consume it and absorb it? But for the purpose of what I do, it is a perfect replacement for everything.
Yep.
But I still like certain devices to perform certain functions. Like I still like my Kindle devices for reading.
Right.
And I don't think everything will replace that. And we're going to talk about that later.
We will. Fantastic. So before we start really eating into Microsoft promotional time,
yep.
We'll send them a bill later. The device is out on the 30th?
Tomorrow, 30th, so tomorrow after we record the show.
Yep, so by the time you get this podcast, it will effectively be available. I recommend go and have a look, because I actually have been quite impressed with the Surface device. And the price for it is quite good.
Yeah,
really.
look, it's from where I've seen, it's up there with the Ultrabook-based devices at this point in time. And in fact, it's cheaper than some of the ones that are going out there in the same specs, because it's not a tablet, and it's not an Ultrabook.
Right.
It's a new category, and you've got to look at it that way. If you think of it as a tablet, it'll be in the iPad upper end range.
Right.
If you think of it as an Ultrabook, it will just be a little bit, it's not quite there, and so it's a new type of way of working from that side of things.
Very good. Well, that's the Surface. Let's kick into more of the news.
So Yahoo have been on a buying spree. Recently, they were behind a rather impressive $1.2 billion buyout of a blogging site called Tumblr.
Yep.
Which is not too bad. But Marissa Meyer's appetite for spending the company's cash does not appear to be in there. Rumours are that the sleeping.com giant is making moves to acquire Hulu. Hulu for 800 million New Zealand dollars.
Wow, okay, so tell me what, for those that are uninitiated in this area of pretty much whatever's an American internet and nowhere else in the globe, what is Hulu?
So we've talked about Netflix. Hulu is the ability to watch television and movie shows via streaming services. You can either watch it on Surface devices, iPad devices, phones, also Roku's, Apple TVs and other devices like that.
Right.
The key way I look at sites like Hulu, sites like Hulu and Netflix and QuickFlix locally, is I've sort of grouped them into two categories. Netflix is great for watching movies and is a little bit lagging on the TV shows. Hulu's sort of reputation is around having those TV shows within 24 hours that have screened in the US. So if you really want to, and you're paying for this, so if you're paying for the TV, you can watch it. It's not as great on the movie side of things, but it is actually a really, really good service that I use at home all the time.
Now, I've got to admit, you've pointed me to the Hulu website to have a look around,
yes.
And it does seem to have quite a lot of popular TV shows.
Yeah, look,
there's a few movies there which really, at the end of the day, don't really look like much, to be honest.
No, look, if you're into TV shows, this is a great way of watching ad-free but legal TV shows within 24 hours when they're released in the US. Now, I think from memory, there's about 26 networks that actually give their content to Hulu.
Wow.
But this is an interesting play for Yahoo.
Is it Yahoo trying to... Is it for the audience or is it for the content? What do you reckon?
I actually think it's for the content.
Okay.
I think on the radio show the other night we talked about, I think they're making a play for a new type of social media experience, which is a mash of a YouTube and a bit of a Facebook type thing. I can see something coming out there where they're going to use their reach within inside the Yahoo email and other social media areas, going to pull something together, and we're going to see this new on-demand subscribed content that's similar to like a YouTube-y type of thing, but you can use the Tumblr stuff as well.
Okay, that's an interesting play. And it doesn't seem to stop because there does seem to be more... Marissa Meyer seems to have a real desire to just build Yahoo up from the ground and take on the likes of Apple and Google.
Yeah, look, she's been cutting a lot of the old dead services out from the Yahoo brand, and I think what we're seeing now is a recreation, like you said, of a Yahoo. I think she's got a clear vision in her mind of what she wants to get to. She hasn't communicated that out to sort of the public.
No.
So we're all sort of trying to guess as we're doing here. But I think I get the feeling that she is on a clear strategy of where she wants the company to go.
Right.
I would say that she's probably, my guess is she's probably got one or two more acquisitions in her for the next few, 3 or 4 months.
Right.
And then they'll probably settle down again. And we'll probably see some cutting of services and moving around. But yeah, I think they are going to go on a bit of a buying binge. But they have not bought Hulu. This is all rumours being reported by Bloomberg.
True.
I want to be careful on this one.
Yep, no, that's right.
So we'll wait and see how this one goes, because there's actually other interested parties on Hulu as well.
Fantastic. Okay, Kindle Fire, device that you're quite familiar with.
I love it.
Is now available in 170 more new countries.
Yep.
So they've opened up the market. So this includes New Zealand and Australia. Now, not only can you purchase this device from Amazon.com, but you can also get some of the services, which, you know, has been restricted in the past. So you bring it in from the States, you can't do anything with it, right? So they're making this whole thing globally available, which is quite exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting.
Now, let's just have a quick look at this little Kindle advertisement that we've seen online.
We're the people with the smile on the box. We're the reinventors of normal. And this holiday season, we're reinventing the perfect gift with the all-new Kindle Fire HD. With an HD screen, HD camera, and dual-speaker Dolby sound. And 22 million movies, TV shows, songs, apps, books, and more. Happy holidays, indeed. The all-new Kindle Fire HD.
Okay, Brad, so you've obviously got a Kindle Fire. You said before you have every technology device known to man. How you've managed to get that past the wife, I have no idea. But you have the Kindle Fire.
Yes.
Is it just a cheap Android spin-off device, huckery piece of plastic, or what?
No, it's a really good device actually. It's a lot more solid. It's not an iPad mini compete. I want to be very clear that if you the iPad Mini has a higher build quality to it.
Right, yep.
This is quite a rough device, as in to hold. It's firm and sturdy. I use it for reading a lot of books. I do watch Netflix on it.
Okay.
The App Store, I get a little bit bugged by the App Store that's there at the moment, but they've got a carousel top feel and then you get tiles at the bottom. But in saying that, the version of, I suppose, Android that it's running, you can actually get other ROMs. And the beauty of this is that you can actually have a bit of fun with actually putting custom ROMs on there. And some of those are actually really cool to play with. But you do lose access to some of the Amazon services at that point. But for reading books and having a play, it's a very, very good device. And the battery life in it is phenomenal. Not as good as the Kindle Paperwhite, but very good.
Very good. So you can go along and see that in a lot of bookstores, I guess. Well, you can't see it in bookstores. It's at Amazon.com. The other competitors, obviously the Kobos and those other types, are in local retail. So obviously Amazon's trying to target that now in the other spaces.
Now, and hot off the press, Dick Smiths have the Paperwhite and the Kindle in store.
The Fire?
No, they have the Kindle Paperwhite and the Kindle
Yep.
for sale. So they actually, for the first time, brought them in. And I think I saw they're selling for $299 New Zealand over here in Dick Smith Electronics.
Wow, okay.
So check that out for New Zealand and Australian customers if you want to have a look
Be
there.
interesting to see if they bring in the Kindle Fire on that as well.
Cool. Now, in other news, recently local internet tycoon Kim.com posted a tweet claiming that he holds the patent for two-factor authentication. Now, you may recall that we discussed two-factor authentication a few episodes ago.
Yep.
Now, this is the additional security that you can add to when you're using services like Twitter, Gmail.
Yes.
I think also Facebook as well. And a lot of other sites are starting to look at two-factor authentication as the way to give you that additional bit of security, to make sure you don't get hacked and you are who you say you are from that side of things. Now, he sent out a series of tweets around sort of claiming that he was the patent owner of this, which raised a lot of interest out there. Now, he's said he's not going to pursue legal action of the companies that are involved, but it's interesting we actually dive into this a little bit further. The patent is issued to a gentleman called Kevin Schmitz, which is .com's fallen name before he did Depol and changed it. And this was issued in 1997. Now, this has the hallmarks initially when we were looking at this of going, hey, Kim.com is going to be in a really good position.
He is,
Now, he said he would not take legal action if these other companies help contribute to his legal costs. So it's come to light that in many other countries, though, including Europe, his patent has been revoked, and as it infringes on other patents from other key companies like AT&T. So, look, it even seems that .com has come out and confirmed that, hey, you know what, my patent isn't valid in a lot of countries. So we're going to wait and see how this one plays out. But putting these bold statements out there, though, he's doing two things. One, he's keeping the focus on him.
Right.
And getting them going there. But he's also sort of throwing a few cat among the pigeons to make sure that, hey, he's really watching what's going on, because this two-factor authentication is something that if you can prove that you own it, you're going to be a billionaire.
Well, he already is. Although most of that's tied up in the New Zealand courts. All right, moving on. What can you do with 5.3 million Lego bricks, Bradley?
I could have lots of fun.
You could, actually. Well, what you can do is you can build yourself a life-size X-Wing. Now, this thing has a wingspan of 44 feet, 43 long, and stands 11 foot tall. Producers currently, or the director's currently freaking out because I'm not actually talking about this in metric terms, right?
I know, so let's work it out. It's about 16 metres long, it's about 3 metres tall, and I think it's about 10 metres wide. There you go, Mr. Director, who's yelling at us in our
Yeah, I can hear him in the room next door. So people have worked on this for over 4 months. Now, this picture I've got here is actually just your old standard, possibly 200-piece X-Wing Lego device, which is nice.
Yes.
This is the puppy. This is the puppy sitting in Times Square.
I love that.
It's big.
It's really, really big.
So the massive creation was built to promote Yoda Chronicles, which is coming to Cartoon Network, and will eventually end up in a place that my son is desperate to go to, Legoland in California.
Yes, I so want to see this thing. I am a big Star Wars fan, which you hate anyway.
I love Star Wars. I love the time before Lucas touched them, right?
All right. So, Grid 2 is coming out very soon on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So while eager fans have been good to pre-order and they're getting really into it, there is one bundle that has caught our eye and has caught the Guinness Book of Records eye as well. The Grid 2 Mono Edition is officially the world's most expensive retail game bundle. It costs a whopping, wait for it, 233,000 Kiwi dollars.
Yeah.
You get a PlayStation as well. Now this bundle includes the BAC's very own hand-built racing car. It is road legal. It can reach up speeds of 277 kilometres an hour or 135 miles for our director in the back there. Now you'll be quick. You have to be quick as there's only one of these available. So, however, for those of you who just want to look at the content, let's just have a look at the Grid 2 video.
Yeah. Okay, Brad, so that is quite a cool looking game actually, and I've been looking at a lot of trailers for this game and I'm quite keen to get it, but you know what, I'm actually even more excited about where we're at with the podcast, and I'm getting a bit generous, and I've got 2 copies to give away for this thing.
Oh,
right?
sweet, cool.
So let's talk about this a little bit more at the end of the show, of the details of how you're going to win this game for the PC on Steam.
Okay, fantastic.
And that wraps our news wrap. We're literally going to kick into a couple of gadgets now because we've got some new cool tech to play with.
Yes, let me get it up.
Let's kick off here and just look at the Nokia Lumia 520. Now, Brad brought this to us on the podcast just the other night, the video one, and I have to say this is a really nice piece of kit. Let's just show the quick promo video that they're throwing out there for Nokia. Right, here we are, Brad. It's the Nokia 520.
Yep.
Now, this one is, I guess the thing about this one is its price, right?
Yes, yeah.
It is a whopping $279, right?
At Dick Smith's right now, $279. If you go to Vodafone or to Telecom, who've got the phones, $299, and that's outright to buy.
Right. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at this puppy. It is, for all intents and purposes, the standard Nokia phone. It's got the Nokia version of Windows 8 on there, and it's not a slug. It actually works quite nicely, and it has all of Nokia's customizations, including Nokia Maps, which is well, what they call hair maps, which is fantastic. Now, the one thing I like about this is it actually has a removable back on it, so the battery is serviceable and replaceable.
And a micro SD slot as well. You've also got an 8 megapixel camera here. But you don't have NFC on this device.
Right.
So the 620, the next range up, has the NFC capabilities. But obviously, for an entry-level phone, for the $279/$299 range, with micro SD card, everything in there, all the services, it's a Qualcomm quad-core 1 gigahertz CPU inside, so you've got the grunt and the horsepower. This is a really nice phone.
I like it. In fact, I actually think I'm going to try and get this for my wife.
Now, if we compare this to what we've got here, if you can just hold that one up next to it. So what I've actually got in my hand here is the Samsung Ativ S. Now, this is probably retailing around between the $899 to $1,000 range outright, give or take, from that side of things. But you can see the screen size there. But you know what? The little Nokia holds its own.
You know what? I think it does. I really do. In fact, I've actually got in my hands here, my hot little hands.
Let's swap phones here. We're going to
the Nokia 920, which I use religiously. It is a fantastic device. Again, it's just a slightly smaller screen, but I haven't noticed much of a performance difference between the two. Apart from the fact, of course, the Nokia 920 has a beautiful camera.
Yes.
It has near field and a heap of other little features as well. But I mean, for $279, that is a phenomenal price.
So look, it's up there. It's in the Android price range where Android has really dominated that low-end phone market. This is a great little phone. Now, I'm going to have the review written on this, hopefully, on the Geeksphere website, because we've got a Geeksphere exclusive on this one.
Great.
So look, have a look at it, see what the review says. We've got a couple of videos up there as well, but we wanted to actually show it on the podcast tonight here because it is a really, really good device, and it's actually selling like hotcakes from what I'm hearing from Dick Smith stores.
Being quick. Now, you've got another device, the Samsung Ativ S.
Yes, this one.
Right, tell us about this one.
So look, this is one of the newer sort of Windows phones that have come out from the Ativ range.
Right.
It's got 8 megapixel camera at the back. It's 2.2 megapixel at the front, so you've got front and rear facing cameras. You've got NFC. You've got OLED screen. This thing is ultra light. It is ultra light.
Nice.
Compared to, I've got the Nokia 920 as well.
Yep.
So I've actually noticed the weight difference going from that today. One of the things I'm missing though is the Nokia ecosystem.
Right.
So I'm actually going through a bit of withdrawal symptoms at the moment around Nokia Maps and all those different services that I actually use quite regularly. But look, this is a gorgeous looking phone. It's got a fantastic screen on it, which is one of the reasons that I sort of decided to have a bit of a play with it. I want to test out the screen. If we compare it to the other Nokia, which we'll just get you to unlock there, you'll see this is, I think, a 4.5-inch screen, which this one's a 4-inch screen. And you just get that little bit more real estate, and it just sort of makes those tiles look a bit more richness from that side of things. But it is a gorgeous looking phone. Now, for a lot of the avid people out there, you will think, hey, doesn't that look like the Samsung S3?
Well, isn't it the same chassis?
It's the same chassis. It's exactly the same chassis as the S3 phone.
Wow.
So they've refitted it and obviously got Windows 8 working across it. Look, it's got a whole lot of other little services that are built into it, but I'm going to keep testing this for a little while. I'll finish my review on the 520 there, but this is, so far, for me, it's only been about 6 hours since I've actually got this phone. Really, really enjoying it so far.
Now, I'd also like to point out that, yes, while it's not the Nokia experience, it still is the Samsung experience, and that actually has quite a few apps in it that are quite nice within their own self. And this is what I like about the Windows 8 phone ecosystem, is that it allows you, if you've got an HTC, Samsung or Nokia or whatever, it allows you just to drill into a brand-specific store component to be able to get store-specific stuff. So Nokia has special deals on certain apps and then their own apps, and so does Samsung. So there is actually quite a bit of value add that Samsung, HTC, Nokia and all the others can do.
LG, all of them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I quite like that.
Yeah, no, look, it is good. And I think what we need to do also is that we need to start getting some new Android phones coming into the market.
Right.
So I've been given a lot of the Windows phones. We need the Android guys to step up and give us some of their phones to review as well.
Come on, bring it on. We had an Android versus Windows phone versus Apple device in the office, fight in the office the other day.
Yeah.
It was fascinating to see that change. So, yeah, very exciting. Right, Brad, we're getting to the end of the show here.
Yep.
Right at the start of the show, we discussed Grid 2.
Yep.
Now, we did mention that I've got a couple of copies from Steam powered to give away this week. Now, to enter the competition, we need you to follow Geeksphere TV on Twitter, or if you like, Facebook, or both. So there's a double entry issue there. You can like our Facebook page and comment on our wall. Any comment you like, I don't care. You might say, love the show.
Hate us.
Or wish Skip had more hair.
Yep.
You know, all that
more
sort of
Google devices, more Apple devices. And if you say that, then give us a device and we'll review it.
Exactly. So, look, this thing's, there's going to be more details up on the geeksphere.tv website, so go along and have a look. And you have to Wednesday the 5th to enter. It's literally just under a week.
Yeah, and that's the 5th of June, not the 5th of July, as I thought earlier on.
Right, there you go. So, that's us for this week. A little bit of gadgetry, a lot of news, which isn't too bad. It's been a bit of a quiet week, to be fair, from America because of holidays and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I think, you know, there's still gadgets to be had. And
Well, we've done gadgets, games, but we haven't done film.
we haven't done a film. Oh, wait, I do have a film. But before we get to that,
Okay.
if you want to follow us on Twitter, of course, geeksphere.tv, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Google+, search for Geeksphere TV. We also have our website, geeksphere.tv, where you can go and look at a lot of articles that we are doing. Brad's reviews are coming up. There is some other stuff that's coming through as well, so stay tuned there. Brad, how do we get hold of you?
You can follow me at Brad Bohr, B-R-A-D-B-O-R.
And you can follow me at Urban Kiwi NZ. Look, I have to say this week has been fantastic because we've had some amazing feedback from a lot of people.
Yep, thank you.
Really enjoyed the feedback, so please just email us anything you like.
Yeah, and you're killing our website, which is good for the
Yes,
our
that's
website
right.
is getting ground to a halt, which is great.
We purchased a content delivery network and it's struggling. I love it. So anyway, now finally, movies.
Yeah, so we're going to do the whole gambit tonight, are we?
We are. So we are big fans of movies and we are really, really keen to see Del Toro's Pacific Rim. Now this movie is coming to New Zealand on July 11 or July 12 if you're American. It's looking really good. You figure that one out. It actually is. That's legitimately July 12 for America. So we're going to leave you with the trailer for Pacific Rim. Enjoy your week.
See ya.
The second attack hit Manila. Then the third one hit Cabo. And then we learned this was not going to stop. In order to fight monsters, we created monsters of our own. We needed a new weapon. The Jaeger program was born. Two pilots, our minds, our memories, connected. And man and machine become one.
Today, at the edge of our hope, at the end of our time, we have chosen to believe in each other. Today we face the monsters that are at our door. Today we are canceling the apocalypse.
It is pretty cool.
Pacific Rim.